Very well, this is SMB and my name is RITAH KABANYORO. You're watching Smart 24 TV in case you just joined us. And now we're going to be talking about what is helping out in regards to a very perfect or smooth financial service delivery in the world or globally. Actually, it is thriving out, and in case you're not part of it or included, find a way, please. And in case you do not know how to find a way, this is the opportunity that you're going to have on this particular day. We speak about financial technology. Joining me now is Innocent Kawoya, who is the CEO Hi People and a very great expert of financial technology and speaking about digitalization or digitizing different entities. Thank you so much for joining us this day.
Thank you, Rita, for inviting me. It's a pleasure always being here at Smart 24. Good morning to the viewers.
Yes, and we appreciate your praises around here. As an expert of financial technology, where is the gap now? Where do you find the gap now in Africa, around the globe? Let us first talk about where do you find the gap?
Well, financial technology is a child that has grown as a result of so much effort in the digital space. The broader picture is digital innovation, which has been happening for quite some time. It's been very, very many years. I remember when Hi People started, one of our main goals was to ensure we play a role in the digital innovation space. And part of the things we were supposed to do is ensuring that we work on the steps that were mostly lacking within the space then. And the steps were, first of all, to evangelize usage and adoption of technology, starting with the basics, the most basic of technology. I don't know whether you were born by then, Rita, but by that time, back in the days, by 1996, for example.
I was born.
I'm not sure. I would need to first see your national ID. But by that time, it was rare to find a telephone set in two houses neighboring each other, unless if you're in Kololo, in some parts, really some parts of the country, and those were really about 5 of them. And telecommunication was growing world over. Bodies like International Telecommunications Union were making 50 years or more by then. Were making a number of efforts to make sure that people get digitally included. And when Hi People came in 2005, we decided to use the knowledge we had, the little knowledge. By then we had little knowledge really. But we thought we could use it to sensitize very many people and show them what internet can be and what technology can be. So we're doing mobile and internet at the same time. How? When we built our first platform, www.hipeople.com, part of the biggest offering was what we call email to SMS service. It was the first ever free email to SMS service in Uganda and probably East Africa, where we allowed university students and all those that could access a computer in a cafe to send SMSs free of charge. All you needed to
regardless of the telecom you were in,
to more than 100 and something countries. And I remember by the time we closed down this service, of course we closed it down as a result of telecommunication companies not wanting us to have this service running, blocking our gateway, our domains and all that. But by the time we closed the service, more than 1 million and 1.5 SMSs had been sent. I remember this service was
in between which years?
That was in between 2007 and 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. So within that time, more than 1.5 million SMSs had been sent, and these were all free. When you try to do a simple calculation of how much people save, because by then an SMS was about 270 to 350 shillings, and you do computation, simple computation of 1.5 million, and that you'll have quite a number of millions, that was helping people understand and appreciate that, okay, I might not need to have a mobile phone, but I can send to mobile. And that was really deliberate. It was email to mobile, email to SMS. And that was what we ideally can call digital inclusion. And those efforts.
So that was your first breakthrough.
Not a breakthrough.
Tapping in.
It wasn't a breakthrough.
Okay.
It was our first deliberate approach to playing a role to digital innovation. So because the digital innovation space is broad, now we were sending SMSs. We started thinking of customizing these solutions for sectors, healthcare, sports, education, and all that. I remember around 2009 and 8, we developed what we called My EM Doctor. It was supposed to be the first ever online healthcare service where people could even access information on internet using SMS, any feature phone.
Was that for free as well?
Yeah,
like
it
no
was supposed
internet.
to be for free.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, this product we had to compete for a grant from ITU and India Africa, and we won. We won the challenge.
Congratulations again. Like, if you could share with us, Innocent, how costly was this from your side? I mean, providing these services or laying them out there, how costly it is? How do you even mitigate it?
The cost, because you asked about the gap, so I wanted to make sure whoever is watching has a realistic picture of the cost. So the gap is that craziness. Talking about costs, for example, that by the time we were running our servers in 2007, they costed us about $800 every month. And none of us that were at high people was earning that money. not any of us, for the record. I was in my high school in my final year, and I could come into work every time. The other colleagues were just fresh graduates from Makerere University. All of them were from Makerere. So it was only me that wasn't a graduate. And each one of them had their hustles. They're stepping into a new world of responsibility. And for many years, we had to either pay between $500 and $800 every month. And literally saying you're paying 2.5 million, you haven't paid rent, your own rent of 80,000, but you have to look for money to pay for servers. But it is not enough, because every single day, I remember for me, High People became my school of programming, my school of developing CMSs, customized content management systems, my school for anything programming, anything internet technologies. It became my place of practice. Why? Whenever we had a challenge, from when I was in senior 6, I could contribute and be able to learn and do 2 or 3 things. Actually, it became easy for me when I went to Makerere and I was given an opportunity to tutor. I had so many hands-on skills, and they were realistic, and they were helping the world. But the gap was, one thing, advocacy was low. And thank God we have mobile phones today in millions, more than 28 million gadgets in Uganda alone. And you know what they have done? They have demystified the entire myth about computers. Because in computing, we have what we call PDAs, personal digital assistants. We have devices like mobile phones. Smartphones are now real computers. They do everything, literally everything. My phone here, I will not say it's brand. My phone, can,
it's okay, really.
My phone has capacity to render a 2K movie. As in it's about 15-20 minutes. As long as I have the right software, mobile software, I will run everything, edit, add titles, do anything, and render. Because we always had this fear for computers. Many were very unlucky. For me, I first interfaced with a computer, a real computer, in 1998, and it was using Linux as an operating system. And well, the computers were like ghosts. We could have to run out every single day at lunchtime at Molly and Po and people and see, oh, the computer is there. So the day when they take it out, everyone knows it is not there. Now see what the mobile technology has done.
And that's the contribution of technology, greatly improving.
Innovation, making innovation more affordable every single day, and then thinking the right approach. Not everyone in Africa would afford to have a computer that needs to be charged every time, because even the distribution of energy is still very low.
Okay.
Yeah, in our country we are still rating at about 20-something% by women 36 for their own. Of course there is a lot that is being done with clean energy, solar and all the others, and having mobile first, for example, or thinking having mobile devices made it easier for adoption. And the gap is still there. There are still so many millions of people that don't have devices. There are still so many people you see in Kampala. You already see them on the internet, but they have never owned their first smartphone. And somehow they walk into cafes, they walk into their office places, but they have never been able to afford a phone over $50 or $30-something. Yeah?
Okay.
And that is a very big gap. But that being a gap, devices, then awareness, advocacy, letting people learn the value they get out of leveraging tools and technology is also a very important thing for us to do. So yes, as we speak about financial technology, which is supposed to be an implementation of a rail on top of another rail, which is a digital infrastructure. Having the right digital infrastructure in place enables multi innovation. It enables people to think differently and innovate and solve problems within their niches, within different places. Yeah.
Okay, you talked about adoption, the cost, and a bit of energy gap in the country. How does energy affect technology? If you could also tap there so that we can understand.
Well, imagine most phones that run at less than 3,000 amps, especially the fact that we are in a country that is slightly hot. A smartphone will maximally take about 12 hours if you're using it every time.
After charging, you mean?
Yeah, after charging, after full charge. So meaning you need to have a power bank.
Okay.
For example, if you are in Johannesburg, if you are in London, it will take 24 hours. Because the temperatures are a little bit low, so the battery doesn't get easily consumed, no matter how busy you are with the phone. So there are very many people that stay in Kampala and don't have a place to charge their phones from that is their own. So every day they have to go somewhere, and it's either they walk there and spend some time, or they walk to a closest place and they pay 500 shillings or 1,000, depending on the area they're doing their work from. So there are many people who actually lose an opportunity, 2 or 3 every day, simply because they don't have battery. Yeah, and your battery dies. Now that is an energy problem. And then energy then becomes a disturbing factor for any other sets of innovation. Someone is doing welding, someone is doing any other thing. But of course, our thought is integrating mobile technology and connectivity to all these services. So someone in the village that would easily call 10 people and tell them I have this product has to walk every 3 days to take their feature phone to the trading center and charge it. And then they have to
with solar.
Exactly. No, some don't have solar. So actually they have to be mindful of whatever they do with the phone. So it becomes a problem. Forget about all these issues of infrastructure. Today, Uganda has coverage, mobile signal coverage of more than 94%. Meaning that in 94 places out of 100 that you go to in Uganda, you have capacity to make a call, your first call. But now guess what happens? On top of all these things, there's a lot of dissemination of information, part of it that is not really appropriate, part of it is not solving the future problem, not even the current problems, but rather all technology. And it is at that point that we need to and we actually advocate for our Thai people, for our regulators, government, and all the stakeholders, especially in the digital innovation space, to adapt to new resources and frameworks that help them build better solutions that serve and affordably empower everyone to, for example, get financially included. So there are many practices that have been implemented in the world, things like open source softwares, yeah, that can be used to develop solutions easily, but you'll find someone wanting to do something from scratch. In this age and time, yet something has been done and tested.
Actually, and where do you pin that to? Is that lack of awareness, adoption, ignorance about technology? Where do you pin that?
It is
government policy.
It is why we would want to do so much of advocacy, because it is lack of awareness.
Okay.
So when you talk about things like level 1 projects, for example, the Gates Foundation has invested a lot of their money in research, getting information that can help governments, organizations, foundations, NGOs, innovators in the space, banks, mobile network operators, easily find ways of developing solutions that include everyone. Yeah? And this information is free of charge.
Very. And before we talk about the level 1 project, when you were speaking earlier, I was listening to a passionate, I can say, person towards whatever they were doing. Like, even when you were at the university, I do not know how you meant to pay all these bills of the $800 US dollars to pay for the bills. For me, I was feeling a person of passion speaking about technology. I want to know if this is the passion that drives you to anything that you put hands on in regards to what you're doing now as high people, as an organization. If you could take us there, where does this come from really?
Thank you, Rita. Well, yes, the word passion comes very closely to me, personal, and to the team. Why? Because we are passionate about making a difference in our society. That has been part of our core goals from the word go. We have been in classes with fellow students, computer science, science in IT, software engineering, and all that kind of stuff. And out of 400 that would be in a class, maybe only 5 have an idea of what exactly they want to be. Yeah. But as we talk about government playing its role, it's also very noble that we get to appreciate that as citizens of the country, we equally are supposed to play a role in making sure that we support our own country to grow, because the government cannot do everything for us. Nowhere has it done that. Whether you go in America, the government doesn't employ more than 15% of the population. So who employs the other 80-something%? No, it is the private sector. And the private sector more so, it is the small scale and medium-sized businesses. Because the large corporate companies, what they call, for example in America, the corporate America, you'll find a very big organization with billions of dollars, and they're employing 1,500 people. And they have a model usually that is maybe business to consumer or to customer. And how they do this is, and that is our model at High People Reading. Okay. Impacts a business, yeah, that can impact 1,000 people. So when we impact 1,000 businesses that impact 1,000 people, then we are impacting 1 million people. Yeah. If we're able to advocate to a telecommunications company like Airtel, like Africell, like MTN, like Uganda Telecom, like Safaricom, Vodafone, whichever it is, and advocate to them to adapt to different rails and different rules of serving the customers. And each of them is serving, you have a bank,
1,000 million people.
Yeah, you have a bank like NCBA, you have products like Jumo with Wewole, and you're telling them, you're offering lending products, and you have 9 million customers, and you have 10. So a combination of them is 18 million people. And we want to exert our pressure more on these operators. That is why most of our initiatives become more centric about empowering these ones in the middle, the businesses in the middle. How, when they're empowered, when they're promoted, when people get to know about them, they're able to serve even more people. So the same approach is supposed to be the government approach to things, for example. But we cannot sit and wait for government to do that for us. That government is supposed to be at the top, and government is supposed to look for players that can reach out to other players, for example. Empower them as much so that they're able to disseminate the same power and be able to create a spillover effect in the economy. One that helps in making sure not only everyone is included, but everyone is empowered. And if your goal is to get everyone out of the poverty lines, then let us play the role together. If your goal is making sure everyone is sensitized about healthcare, about technology, let us make sure we do this. Yeah. So then it is at that point then when we can begin thinking financial technology.
Okay.
Otherwise, before all that, the story is about everything, everyone, every part of the sectors that we have, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of empowerment, when we return after the break, we'll be speaking about how actually Innocent Kawoya here and his team at High People have empowered a lot of SMEs, a lot of fintechs, financial players in the country, not only here, but across Africa, towards including other people. Speaking of the impact, when they have already affecting or impacting 1,000 or millions of people, how about the expertise that is crossed onto other entities or players? How does it transform us? And you will realize that you could be one of the persons or one of the people that have actually been transformed through High People implementations. When we do return, we're going to speak about that. We do take a break. SMB continues.